Hey everyone, this is smpratte, and today we're going to discuss a riskier topic: are scalpers ruining Pokemon? I wasn't sure if I was to do a video on this, but I see a real opportunity to talk about what's MSRP, how does it work buying from a distributor, what does it look like when a company makes a pre-order, what's going on there, why are prices doing what they're doing right now? Why is Champions Path selling for $70 to $90? Is it because of a scalper, or is there something bigger going on right now in 2020 for why we're experiencing this supply and demand situation? So a lot of people probably want to know, what is a scalper, myself included. I found out recently that a scalper is basically this negative stereotype of like Team Rocket going into Target, knocking off the ETBs in their cart, Tokyo drifting up to checkout, taking a picture, flexing it online. That's what people refer to when they're talking about a scalper. And in my opinion, I think they are low-hanging fruit. I think they're an easy target to project our frustration onto, but ultimately I don't think they are the reason for why we're experiencing what we're experiencing. In 2020 right now, we have unprecedented demand with an unprecedented low supply. Right now, the demand is beyond any point in time. It's bigger in 2016, 1999. I mean, to really drive that home, like you have the current cyclical process of like the current generation of kids who are doing their thing. You have the original 90s kids that are now adults, paying record prices, just interacting in the market in a way that they didn't back in the 90s. So therefore, we have the highest demand ever mixed with some of the lowest supply ever. So therefore, these parts are pulling away from each other, creating this chaos in the middle. And this isn't unique just to Pokemon. I mean, look at something like sports. If you go to Target, I've seen people put up pictures of like what Team Rocket did for sports. Like they took everything, like select all delete. At least for Pokemon, yeah, you might not be able to get Champions Path or Hidden Fates at certain stores, but you're still going to get like Darkness Ablaze, whatever sets are there still. Like there's still going to be Pokemon product available. Where sports, it's like select all delete, and that's not even unique to collectibles. Like there's so many supply chain issues right now. People building homes, they can't get appliances. Even the friggin' plastic we put our cards into, card savers, we can't get those in the supply that we need. This is just a 2020 issue overall. It's not unique to Pokemon. So therefore, when you mix this unprecedented demand with this unprecedented supply, they're pulling away from each other and naturally creating this chaos and opportunity. Or the opposite of that was 2017. These were very close together, which is why that market was very boring, very stagnant. Price is very stagnant. It's that classic Oscar Wilde tragedy of not getting what you want in 2020 and getting what you want in 2017. Oscar Wilde said there's two tragedies in life: not getting what you want and getting it. We experienced both of those. 2017 was very boring. So, like, Sun and Moon was extremely boring. Where right now, everyone is talking about Sword and Shield. Even if there is a bit of frustration in there, more people are excited about this era than they were 3 years ago. And I think that's a good way to really get into what's MSRP, what's distribution, what does MSRP really mean, for products. So MSRP, for those who don't know, stands for, the S isn't scalper, the S isn't SM Pratt, manufactured suggested retail price. It's a suggestion. And why it's a suggestion is because guess how many booster boxes have sold for MSRP? Zero. Not a single box has ever sold for MSRP. And that's because the MSRP price is $143. I don't know who made that price up, why it's $143, but that's what it's always been. And not a single booster box has sold for $143 day one, not even first edition base. So therefore, obviously, MSRP is just an arbitrary number. It's not something that's going to have any real value in any market. What defines the value of why this is $70, $90, why Crimson Invasion was $50, is entirely just supply and demand. It's what people are willing to pay. And that's what we're experiencing. More specifically, you don't hear MSRP come out of the woodwork until prices increase, meaning that nobody's really loyal to MSRP at the end of the day. When people are like, I can't believe these businesses are selling above MSRP. Well, no one said that when they were going below. Nobody said that when Crimson Invasion put people out of business because they couldn't sell boxes for $50. True story. I remember at regionals, they couldn't sell booster boxes of Crimson Invasion for $30 to $50. I've never seen a box do that bad ever in Pokemon, hopefully never again. So therefore, nobody's actually loyal to MSRP. What people are loyal to is trying to get cardboard the cheapest possible price. And why you can't do that right now is because, again, this exponential demand with this exponentially low supply. It's that simple. Also, for people who are fantasizing about distribution, because I see a lot of people that really pontificate about, I could just get, if I were a distributor, how do I get access to these prices? It's not some magical oasis of like infinite product. If anything, my price from a distributor in 2016, 15, and so on is not going to be reflected today. Because again, that supply in 2016 doesn't exist today. I can't just pretty much buy as much as I want of any set. If I go make a pre-order from a distributor, I'm not guaranteed that product. I'm not even guaranteed that price again on the second print, which, by the way, this is going to get a reprint. So therefore, people are frustrated. There's going to be more supply at some point. So ultimately, when that reprint comes as a business, you're not guaranteed those prices. It's always a negotiation. We are always at the whim of Pokemon. Distributors, down to businesses, down to retail, down to whoever, the consumer, you're always at the whim of Pokemon. So therefore, when a business is trying to get their product from a distributor, there are never any guarantees. Sure, the more you do with that distributor, the more they're going to bend for you, the more loyal they'll be. But still, there are no guarantees. So at the end of the day, that fantasy of this oasis of like companies buying just as much of whatever it is at a certain price, that really doesn't happen. We're at a point now where even the biggest players, the biggest stores, don't get enough of the supply that they need, which is why Pokemon tweeted and said, hey, we realize that. We're going to try to get more out there. But again, 2020 is a hell of a drug. Like, it's doing its own thing. It's just a crazy time that we're in. But again, I'm saying all this because I really want to like extinguish that frustration for people that it's not this scalper person. I think the best way to say this is that boxes aren't expensive because of scalpers. It's like scalpers are here because they're expensive. It's vice versa. And again, if you remove them entirely, like take scalpers out of the equation, like make it illegal. Let's just say Pokemon's the only one who could sell these boxes, and they put them up at $1 auction, like what we're experiencing right now. As I'm making this video, there's like over 70 boxes starting at $1. Let's say Pokemon does that straight to retail, right? We're still going to be in the same boat. These prices are still going to hit what they're hitting, because that cycle happens every day. When it starts at $1 and it ends at 70 or 90 or whatever it is, again, that's just what people are willing to pay. That's just what someone out there is willing to pay for that product. Just like if we put Crimson Invasion up right now, we all understand that's not going to do as well as this. We understand Steam Siege Box is not the same as Hidden Fates. We get that there's a difference here in demand. So that's all price reflects at the end of the day. A couple other things just to reiterate is that 2017 and 2020 are like the mixture again of those Oscar Wilde tragedies, where 2017 was that thing where people, they got what they wanted. You get what you wanted. You get very cheap cardboard, but no one's really excited about it. No one's really talking about it. No one was really talking about Sun Moon Era. I remember people, especially on E4, would talk about sets, Megathread, all the way up to Evolutions. And when Sun and Moon came out, it was just like, okay, hyper rares look like general Lisa Frank artwork over and over again. But now with Sword and Shield, those VMAXs look like fire. We're not even getting into Charizard. We're talking, let's get some love on Butterfree here, like Butterfree VMAX. Like, there's so much going on right now in Sword and Shield. There's a lot to be excited about. So that's what you got to look at. I'm just trying to put that optimism out there that, yes, prices are going, like for these boxes, 70 to 90 in my opinion. It's not too outrageous. And again, if you think it's too much, there's going to be more supply soon down the road. But at the end of the day, the optimistic view is there's a lot more people excited right now. Again, going back to the scalper thing, they have to sell to someone who wants the card. It has to end at an end point. It has to get to someone who values it. And even if you want to be cynical there and say like they're this investor or whatever, that's fine. It's still ending at an end point, and most of those people are collectors. I think that's why we're really want to close with here is that a lot of us get tunnel vision and we get focused on these little things in our little pockets, our little fish bowls. We all do it. I do it myself too all the time. I have to give myself a reality check. When I go to my store, it's not just Team Rocket buying this stuff. It's everybody. It's people who look like me, it's kids, it's teenagers, it's people that look like me and are trying to be low-key about it and act like they're not buying Pokemon, and then when no one's looking, they're like, all right, I'm going to buy the thing I want. That's what it is at the end of the day. Majority of the people buying this stuff are just a mixture of people. It's not that one person. The world isn't like one good guy, one bad guy. It's a big mixture there in the middle. And you never know. Some of these people, I've said this before, a lot of these new buyers, this new invisible market, you never know where they're going to end. You never know where these people are going to end. Some people might start out on a sour note. Some people might start out making mistakes, but they might end up in a better place. So again, just trying to end with that optimism here that I really don't, there's a lot of easy, like impulsive negativity that I don't think is really productive at the end of the day, because again, what we're experiencing right now in 2020 is bigger than any individual. It's bigger than any scalper, investor, collector. Give me the characters here in the play. It's bigger than all of them. This situation we're in 2020, this big demand with low supply is really the current climate, and there's no way around it. We're just trying to navigate the best we can. Ultimately, at the end of the day, your choice is, right now, do you want to buy it at 70? You can. Do you want to wait and see if the reprint, gives you more supply? That's your choice as a consumer. That's all you're left with at the end of the day. The only difference is we have so many more people competing for that. And maybe one other thing to give you here in the final part of the video is that a reminder that this isn't nothing new in relation to supply and demand. So going back to 1999, one of my favorite things to quote is that in 1999, certain sports sets didn't have a release. So what I mean is, like, 97, you had your like baseball year release. 98. In 1999, a lot of sports sets had nothing because Pokemon was just taking up every single printer. It was occupying every single printer at the time, and that still wasn't enough supply to meet demand. It was occupying literally every printer to the point where sports cards weren't printed for 1999, and that still wasn't enough. So therefore, the only way you can push down prices is by pushing up supply and, just trying to put a positive spin on these people, the Team Rocket people, putting it up on eBay. They are pushing up that online supply. So that's the only way you can really push down the prices, increasing that supply. But again, in the 90s, literally all the printers were printing to the point where sports sets didn't have a release, and it still was enough supply. Evolutions is also like a reverberation to base set. That thing was in print through X and Y, Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield. It's gone through 3 eras, and it's still not enough supply. I mean, you're at a point now where Evolutions has already hit its inflection point. So again, I'm just trying to throw at you more data and metrics to just remind everybody that there's so much demand out there. And when we get into that tunnel vision, I think we miss it. I think we don't see a lot of the invisible buyers, the invisible collectors, the people going into stores. You're going to hear that from me a lot because it's something I remind myself of, when I go to Target or whatever. Again, you see everybody. Everybody's buying this stuff. Those scalper people, they're like low-hanging fruit. It's not a good business model. So it's a real easy target to put your frustration into. But again, there's a lot more going on. And, hopefully I articulated that here in this video. So there it is, guys. That's what I have. Again, hopefully I did a good job of like trying to present this to you because I know it's one of those topics where it could be confrontational, but I really wanted to throw some positivity in there and some realism, and hopefully soothe some of that pain to get us back to enjoying the hobby that we all enjoy. So there it is. You know the deal. Let me know how you feel, and that's pretty much it. Until next time.